What is the strangest thing that happened during the filming process?
So the strangest thing that happened during the making of this film was really learning about Barry Corbett and his story, and then finding out about all the crazy parallels between Barry and his life and Trevor and his life. And every time we turned over a stone and found some new connection, it was pretty wild. I mean, they were both injured in the Colorado backcountry. They both found fame in Corbett's couloir. They both really redefined what people consider possible for somebody with a disability, and they were both inspirations to so many. And the list actually goes on, but those are some of the big ones.
Why did you decide to take on this project?
So I began my filmmaking career really wanting to tell stories and never really had a good opportunity put in front of me until Trevor Kennison showed up in my life in 2019 and wanted to go back to the site of his accident where he broke his back on Vail Pass and do a single backflip in a sit ski. And it's a really compelling story about redemption and taking something back from a place and a time that has taken so much away from you. And that really, just sucked me in and inspired me to jump on board and do something with Trevor.
Tell me about your favorite moment throughout your entire filming career.
Entire career, okay. No pressure here. My favorite film moment from 25 years of filmmaking. There are obviously 101 that I could tell stories about all day, but honestly, like the most impactful moment that I've ever experienced shooting something was actually with Trevor going back to the site of his accident where he landed the first ever double backflip in a sit ski. And it's the first and only time I've ever actually cried filming action, which I think says something really. And it was just this magical moment where so many things came together. The stars really legitimately aligned to make that day happen.
What is the most stressful part of the film process for you?
The most stressful part of the filming process for me is really not being able to control certain things. I mean, specifically related to this film and making ski films, it's the weather, it's the snow conditions, it's the things that no matter how hard you work, how experienced you are, how much knowledge you bring to the table, you can't control certain things. And it's always super stressful because you can spend a lot of time, a lot of money and resources planning for something, and Mother Nature could have different ideas, and there's nothing you can do about it.
What is one thing that Trevor does that people might not know?
What is the one weird thing that Trevor does that people might not know about? Trevor actually is remarkably good at solving a Rubik's Cube. It probably takes him, on a good day, less than a minute. On a bad day, maybe 2 minutes, but I still can't figure it out myself, and I'm pretty impressed.
Where does the name Level 1 come from?
So back when I was in college, I was part of a group called Ground Zero, and this is pre-9/11, of course, and it was actually a kind of a play on our class year, 2000, at Dartmouth College. And yeah, we called ourselves Ground Zero, and when I went to go start my own company, if you will, I really liked what Ground Zero meant at the time, which was really starting at the bottom, but it wasn't my name to take, and thankfully I didn't take it. But the closest thing that I could come up with was Level 1, which to me meant also starting really at the bottom. And it was also important to choose a name that didn't pigeonhole us in snow sports. There were a lot of company names at the time that were really tied to some verbiage related to snow or something like that. And so I wanted something that we could take and do whatever we wanted with.
What was your expectation for the film before you started filming?
My original expectation was that I would probably end up with like a 5, 10, 15, 20-minute piece destined for a couple festivals and then ultimately YouTube. I really had no idea what Trevor's real story was and certainly Barry's story. And we had no idea what we were getting into. And I think that the only reason why we were able to spend 4 years making it happen and turning it into what it is was because it all happened super organically. We had no real preconception and didn't put any limits on what we were doing.
Is there anything that you wanted to include that did not make the final edit?
Yeah, it's crazy. We actually put every single thing in the movie that we wanted to. I mean, there's nothing that hit the cutting room floor. No, in reality, there's always so much that can't be included in a film. And in this case, we're taking two really massive storylines with two very different people in a lot of ways that were separated by 50 years and combining their stories. And in doing so, we really had to make a lot of difficult cuts, both to Trevor's story and to Barry's story, to action elements. And it really forced us to make some hard decisions, but ultimately we were making a single feature doc and not a 10-hour web series, or TV series, which would have been a little different.
What goes through your mind when you're watching Trevor ski?
When I'm watching Trevor ski, I'm oftentimes thinking, Trevor, don't hit me. Don't hit me. Trevor has not had a ton of experience working with a filmer. And between that and just my lack of understanding of how a sit ski operates, and he doesn't necessarily turn in the same rhythm as an able-bodied skier, I think that there probably been a half dozen times over the course of working with him where I'm getting pretty close on a follow cam and Trevor zigs when I thought he was going to zag, and a little too close for comfort.